What is up, ballers? Are we live? Are we live, y'all? I think we are live. Jeremy, can you tell me if we're live or not? Do you know? Hey, ballers. What's up,
I'm not on
Scummy?
YouTube, but if
I
it
don't
says
know. I'm
we
not
are
on.
live, it says
I,
Scummy Mummy. All right.
okay, yes, we are. Good. Epsilon Omega 5. Thank you. What's up,
Excellent.
Scummy Mummy? Can you guys hear the laugh track? I want to know. Probably not, but I'm trying. What's up, Nito? How's it going? Happy Friday. And happy holidays to everybody who's celebrating this weekend. And I hope everybody who is celebrating Hanukkah recently had a good one. Did you have a good Hanukkah, Jeremy?
I did. Yeah, we lit the candles and we ate latkes in 3 different apartments.
Nice. What was were they all different? Like,
They
was there
were all
one that,
different. They were all
well,
different. I am partial to my own, but my brethren of the latke pan did a great job.
good for them?
I also
Okay, they
made
can't.
goulash, which was superb.
Oh, yeah, totally. I'm sure in New York.
And then
All right.
we'll be trimming the tree tomorrow. What about you?
Awesome. Yes, we have trimmed the tree already, and we're just kind of pulling together the food and so forth. And there have and we will be, exchanging gifts and doing all those lovely things. So we'll be ready to hole up and have a nice weekend with the family. And
Sweet.
ballers, part of that has been, I've been buying a lot of records this month because I bought some as gifts, and I bought a couple things for myself, and we decided we would do a little a little video here on live stream on records we picked up recently. I'm gonna mention as we do this, hold on, ballers, I'm gonna shout out a couple of little things here. Check out Jeremy's An Earful Music blog at substack.com. And it's worth checking it out and subscribing to the email too, because then
And my
it tells
top
you
25 for 2023 will be posting tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern.
Oh, nice. Cool. And please like and subscribe to the show. I'm sure you're already in there. Who do we got for comments here? Tell me if you've gotten any records recently. Oh, Epsilon Omega 5 is working on an album. What kind of music, Epsilon Omega 5? Tell us. Oh, you think you can hear this laugh track super low? It might be from my headphones. Scummy Mummy. What's up, Yo-Ya? How's it going? Yeah, deafening laugh track with the sound. Definitely. Hold on. Can you hear it now? I'm holding my headphones up. All right, let's talk about our records, Jeremy. We'll get right into it here. Hold on a second. Let me pull up my thing here.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, I'm going to start with the first one I got, and it is Traffic. Now, let me tell you guys something on this record. How I got it. It's a great album, first of all. All right, it's just a couple of songs on each side. They're kind of long. It's jammy. It's like jazzy. And I didn't realize how well I knew it, Jeremy. I thought I knew one or two of the songs, but when I listened to it, I was like, I know everything. I knew I remembered them all from back in the day somehow. Somebody I knew, I think, had the tape, and I heard it a lot. But great album. Really, I think this is where Traffic really coalesced as what they were doing as a band. Would you agree, Jeremy?
I think so. I mean, I haven't listened to it in a while, but my sister had that album growing up. So we listened to it quite a bit. And I enjoyed it. I think it's one of their most solid albums, to tell you the truth.
Paper Bag Man used to have it on 8-track. Yeah, it's so good. And it's like they do this jazz thing, and then when Steve Winwood starts singing, it's like I don't know, inspirational almost. I loved it. And the thing I wanted to say about it was like how I got it. Now, I say support your local record shop, but I often do also buy records online, and sometimes even from Amazon. I know, from Amazon. And so, but one of the places where I will go, one of the things I will do, guys, is I don't know if you guys are on Reddit. But there's a subreddit called Vinyl Deals. Okay, and they'll just post deals and on there, and I just have it on, and they'll pop up once in a while. It'll be like every once in a while there'll be a great deal, and the one of the things I got on there was that Traffic record. I got
Mm.
that for $6.98 in the pressing of it.
Wait,
It
is that a new pressing or an original pressing?
it on Amazon. It retails for like $29.99.
You
So
know, I'm in that subreddit, but I don't think I have notifications set, so I should probably do that.
yeah, I
Although
highly
it could be
recommend.
dangerous too.
Yeah, it is dangerous, but I sort of have a rule that like it has to really be a great deal,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
me to do it.
Yep.
But it is worth following ballers if you enjoy that sort of thing. Um, then I recommend it. All right, let's go to your first one. And I
Sure.
thought it would be fun. One of the things maybe we could talk about, Jeremy, is like how we got these records too.
Yeah.
Like if there's a story behind getting it. Um, tell
There's
me the story here.
always a story. Well, if there's one thing you should know about me is that I am a Yardbirds fanatic.
Yes.
I've loved the Yardbirds since I was in high school when I
Yep.
found the Yardbirds greatest hits in my brother's collection. Turned out it was my father's copy that my brother stole. But
Ooh.
I just thought it was so fascinating, the variety and stuff on there. And I just gradually started getting all the records and was actually through the Yardbirds that I got into Led Zeppelin because I was like, well, what happened next? you know?
Yeah.
And, but it took me a long time to understand what happened next to some of the other guys in the band who weren't Jimmy Page. So Keith Relf started a band called Renaissance with Jim McCarty and two other guys and his wife or sister. Shoot, now I'm look that up. Jane Ralph.
Yeah.
So and Renaissance was kind of a classical prog rock folky thing. I have their first album; it's quite good. And they made one more album, and then Keith Relf and Jim McCarty left, and the band became something completely different. And went on to have a huge career. They played at Carnegie Hall and this and that, but I didn't like them at all at that point. So then on my birthday or around my birthday, I was shopping at the Captured Tracks store out in Brooklyn. They have an incredible, probably 20,000 records in the store. It's just
Wow.
insane, but it's quite well organized.
It's called Captured Tracks.
Captured Tracks, they release records and they also sell used records. And I'd
Wow.
actually scored a few things at their used bin at the Brooklyn Flea Record Fair a couple months earlier. So I was psyched to see their store when I was walking down the street in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. And I just happened to flip into the Yardbirds section. I don't know why, because I have every Yardbirds record. I have every Yardbirds song on vinyl or CD that you
Yeah.
need. But then I saw this, and it said they had written on there Keith Relf of Yardbirds. And I'm not even sure I was 100% aware. But this was the band that he formed after he left Renaissance. It was recorded in 74, released in 75. And it's kind of a low-key supergroup because not only does it have him, but it's Martin Pugh, who played guitar on the Rod Stewart album, one of Rod Stewart's early solo albums, and was also
Yeah.
in a band called Steam Hammer, one of those bands
Yeah.
you hear about. I don't know if I've ever listened to them. And then a guy named Bobby Caldwell plays drums. He played with Johnny Winter and Captain Beyond.
Not the Bobby Caldwell. What you would do for love? No, not that
I
Bobby
don't
Caldwell.
think so. Well, maybe he does sing on this record. And then Louis Sinamo, who plays bass, he was also in Renaissance and Steamhammer. So I didn't really know what to expect. I put it on the listening station just see what it sounded like. Because, I mean, it's $12, but it's not on Spotify. It's completely out of print. I think it was maybe reissued once on CD in the 90s. Never been reissued since. So I put it on the thing. And the first cut is called Buzzard. And you would not believe the guitar intro. I can't believe Kanye West hasn't sampled this thing yet. It's so nasty and dirty. It's just like, you know what I mean? And it was so good. I had the headphones on and I actually did a video of myself because I thought this is hilarious.
Is it like metal? It looks like a Black
like
Sabbath album.
Beavis and Butthead was like, this is incredible.
Is it like hard rock?
It's hard rock with a progressive edge, is how I would describe it. And the thing
Very
about it is, when
cool.
I say hard rock, this is one of the hardest hard rock records of the 70s.
And
It's
it's
not,
not on streaming?
no, it's
Why?
crazy.
Do
It's
you know
crazy
why?
good. The one thing I would say about it is the sound is a little thin. This is original pressing. This, it could probably use a little remastering, get the bass boosted a little bit. And Ralph's vocals could also be boosted up. His vocals, these are the most convincing post Yardbirds vocals he did. He sounds a little gruff. I think he's probably smoking a lot or something. Got his voice a little roughed up. He doesn't have that like choir boy thing, when he was in the
Right, right.
Yardbirds. He also plays some unbelievable harp on one song. He plays the harmonica incredibly well. Sometimes I think he's a better harmonica player than a singer.
Wow.
And there's some like incredible solos on here. But Martin Pugh, what a guitarist. The guy shreds like you would not believe. And there's also some like kind of long, slow, reflective,
I'm guessing you
arpeggio.
can probably hear this stuff on YouTube.
I
Did
think
you
maybe
look?
you can find it on YouTube.
Yeah.
But
That's
if you
crazy
see
that
this record and you like hard rock from the 70s, just buy it. And here's the other funny
right,
thing
right.
about it is I shared it on all the various vinyl groups I'm on Facebook. And all these people start coming out of the woodwork. Oh, yeah, that's one of the best records of the 70s. I've treasured my copy, this and that. I was like, who knew? It's definitely a cult classic.
Yeah, totally. So it just
And
goes to show it pays to visit bins sometimes of bands that you
right.
already think you
Yeah,
know.
exactly. I'm still looking for the second Renaissance album. I could mail order it, but I kind of like the thrill of the hunt. So,
Yeah.
but once I get that, I'll have pretty much everything Keith Ralph ever did, because he died shortly after this record came out. I think he died a year after it came out. The thing that kind of sucked is that they never toured off the record. They just sort
Yeah.
of went their separate ways after making it. And I think that may have led to him being kind of depressed. He didn't commit suicide, though. He just had an accidental death. But I think he was not too happy with the way that turned out. If they had toured on this record, I'm not sure the history of music could have been different.
Wow. I mean, I love the cover. I'm gonna check it out.
I'd love
All
to get
right.
Jimmy Page's take on
Th-
it.
this is another one that I found on vinyl deals.
Mm.
And I bought a copy of a new Blue Note pressing of it for
Mm-hmm.
$10 off of Amazon, and it came packaged nicely and everything in a day.
Nice.
For $10 is a great deal for a Blue Note record.
Yeah.
But it's a great album. It's following Empyrean Isles and Isle and Maiden Voyage.
Yep.
So it's that peak period, post Miles, but he's
Indeed.
leading his own group, and um it has that same feel, as Maiden Voyage, I'd say, like, and you may know ballers from that period, like Cantaloupe Island,
Yeah.
from for which was sampled us for that song Cantaloupe. But I mean, this one is just as good. I've only
Oh,
had a
yeah.
chance to listen to it
Completely.
twice,
Yeah.
but groovy bits, introspective parts, like total mastery of, and just like a master at his peak.
All
I mean,
composed by Hancock, except for one Ron Carter song. And the song Riot and I believe The Sorcerer were both also recorded with Miles Davis.
oh, cool. See,
Yeah.
I didn't even look hard enough at the
And I'm
the
just
Miles is
I
on
actually
that.
own an original pressing of this that I bought for a few bucks. Now I see it's worth like $50.
Yeah.
But it's I love the band on here because it's got the flugelhorn, which is not something that Miles would do. So it just gives it a little more of this kind of chamber music edge, the flugelhorn versus the trumpet. And Mickey
Yeah.
Roker is the drummer on here. He is a great drummer, very underrated. He's on the Lee Morgan Live at the Lighthouse collection. I don't
Oh,
know if you
okay.
heard that.
Yeah, yeah.
He is a killer drummer. I like this album a lot.
What's
And
up, Georgia Constitution Media? Sorry.
hey,
What is up? Georgia
yeah, no,
Constitution
it's a
Media is in the
really, really
house.
good record.
Hold on a second.
Let me ask you a question though. So the copy I have, it opens up and then you pull the record from the center. Did this one do that?
Yes, it does
Yes.
actually. Hold on
So
one
it's like,
second here. Nito said, I tried to get Ike Riley's new record, but it sold out before I finished the PayPal checkout
oh,
process.
oh.
Oh, that's brutal. Yeah, it's an
But who's Ike
interesting.
Riley?
I don't know, but it sucks. Yeah, it's an interesting sleeve. This one, even on the new one, they replicated what it's
Yeah.
like, and it's sort of a little bit thinner paper,
Yep.
but you open it and
Yeah, it's a center pull.
it's sort of a gatefold, and then it's like a pocket, and you take the record out from inside.
Yeah, I have a few
Um,
records like that. Beatles for Sale, the UK pressing of that is like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I think
Tad
it's cool.
Jones playing flugelhorn, Ron
Yeah.
Carter,
Yeah,
Mickey
Ron Carter on
Roker.
bass.
Yeah,
Really
it's a
good
great
60s jazz.
record.
Yeah.
And I somehow completely slept on it,
Mm.
Jeremy. So I have to say again, and I'm not getting a plug for this, but the reason I got this for $10 was that somebody said it on vinyl deals.
Yeah.
And it may still be $10 on there.
Mm.
Um so hold on a second. Let's go to your next one. I'm not going to belabor the point here. Guys, if you in the chat want to say if you got a new record recently that was
I
cool.
saw somebody has records under the tree, but they don't know what they are. They're all wrapped up.
Oh, nice. Oh yeah, let me get some comments. Let me get some
Come
of the
back to the
comments up on
comments after
here.
you open them and tell us what you got.
Yeah, I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna get into the comments in a second here. All right, I'm gonna let you start talking about Aretha while I go into the
Aretha
comments.
Franklin, Almighty Fire. One thing that happened after Aretha Franklin died is I decided I'm going to put together a playlist to give you a new view of Aretha Franklin. And I decided to listen to every single song of hers that was on Spotify. And I figured that would be every single song that she released because she's Aretha Franklin, one of the greatest singers of all time, one of the most successful artists of all time. I was wrong. There are 5 albums that she recorded for Atlantic between 1974 and 1979 that are not in print in any way. They may have been issued on CD in other countries or for brief periods back in the 90s. Those might even, I think they might even be unofficial.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there are 5 of them, and I now have 3. This is the most recent one I got. It's from 1978. It is produced, and all the songs except for one are written by Curtis Mayfield.
Really?
So right there, that says to you, this is a record that probably has some value, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
just
totally.
looking at the
Nice.
back of it. But I'd already bought 2 of these. I bought With Everything You Feel in Me a couple of years ago. That's from 74. And then I also bought Sweet Passion from 77 a year or 2 ago. And they're both quite good. I think the main thing they lack is that one song that really sticks in your head. They're
Yeah,
definitely better than some of the albums that are actually in print.
right.
But this one was actually pretty successful. The title track was number 12 on the R&B charts. The album was
Yeah.
nominated as Best R&B Vocal Female at the Grammy Awards.
Uh-huh.
So it's sort of absurd that it's not in print.
It's crazy. I mean, you would think that they could press something like that for record store
Yeah.
day or something and it would sell out, you know?
Yep. And I'll tell you, it's a really good album. It's very high energy. The first song, the title track, Almighty Fire, Women of the Future, has this outrageous synthesizer solo. I'm looking on the back here to see who played it. It doesn't say who played it. Oh, a guy named Rich Tufo. He goes off. I don't know if it's like an ARP or something, but it
Yeah.
is so great. It's like sky flying, high flying
So is it like
synth tour.
funky R&B and there are gospel bits of it? Almighty
Well,
Fire.
it's Aretha, so there's always going to be that gospel edge. But yeah, I would say
Right.
it's more funky R&B. It's not really disco,
Yeah.
and a little bit of soul in there. The last song is composed by her. It's called "I'm Your Speed." Really nice song. Oddly enough, she doesn't play any piano on here, as far as I can tell, which is a little unusual for her. She usually does, but it's great playing throughout. Curtis plays guitar, lead guitar on the whole thing, and you'll
Oh,
see that
cool.
it's got the, well, you can't see it, but it's got the notch in it, so it was a cutout.
Hold
So
on, guys. Hold on.
at some point,
Alexa,
they just let it go.
Alexa, mute. Um,
So
uh,
right now my story is that I still need to get You from 1975, which
yeah,
I have heard is truly wretched, but I will buy it anyway as long as it's like
yeah,
under $10. And then there's another one called La Diva, which was her last album for Atlantic, and also does not. I think it was produced by Van McCoy.
yeah.
One of the last things he did before he died.
And
So
it wasn't good, huh?
I don't know. I want to get it, and
All right.
I just want to get all of them because it's just ridiculous. So if you go back to an earful, the olden earful on Blogspot, and you find the Franklin post, you'll see I mentioned these different albums
Oh,
in the
okay.
mix, but I can't share any of the songs because they're not on Spotify.
So were you just thrilled to find this one?
I was super psyched, yeah, for $5 in one of those bins, just where it just says soul, funk, jazz, and
Oh
it's
man,
completely
you were like total score.
disorganized. Everyone is $5, no haggling. And I just was,
Jeez.
yeah, I actually ended up getting, I also got a Johnny Taylor record in that same bin that is also out
Nice.
of print. So, but I'm really enjoying getting to know this record. Like I said,
Mhm.
it doesn't seem to have that natural instant hit single, even though it did have a hit single on it.
Yeah.
But the more you listen to them, they're just good. She's totally engaged. Voice sounds great. So
Okay, let me go to some of
don't
these
listen to the critics.
comments. Epsilon Omega 5 says, I really wish I had Selected Ambient Works Volume 2 or Hawaii Part 2 on vinyl, but they both cost a ridiculous
Yeah,
amount. I assume Selected Ambient Works, is that, were you talking about Aphex Twin?
Aphex Twin. Yeah,
Is a Volume 2, I think I have on CD, but I
yeah.
didn't even know if that was on vinyl.
It might have been
It's,
pressed later.
and what about Hawaii Part 2?
I
What
don't
is
know what
that?
that is.
Tell us what that is, but yes, I agree with you on that. Selected Ambient Works Volume 2.
You
I
know the thing. I hate to say it, but I think things like Aphex Twin, Otekra, to me, that's CD music.
Nito says I want a numbered signed tour edition of Josh Ritter Spectral Lines. Great record, but
Oh wow, that's cool. You
it's
won it.
increasing in value. Yeah, that's an awesome win. Fantastic. That's
I won
great.
some concert tickets this year, but I haven't won any vinyl.
All right, so I'm gonna go into my. Oh, hold on a second.
Corey Simmons,
I have a
yes.
side Thriller album, but that's none of nobody's business. I was a kid. LOL. Georgia Constitution Media.
I'll take that off your hands if you
I
want.
know, seriously. Corey Simon's in the house. What's up? Yeah, that is an awesome find for $5. All right, so but I'm gonna tell you guys, I just
Hawaii
want to.
Part 2 is a really cool album, says Epsilon Omega 5.
Oh, okay.
Miracle Musical's only album. Huh. I'll have to
Oh, I don't know
look that
that.
up. I have not heard of that at all.
All right, so I'm gonna tell you as I go to my next one. I just picked up tickets to my next show, which is gonna be Tommy Stinson from the Replacements doing a solo acoustic show. And I got the VIP pass, which is you hang out with Tommy for an hour before the show. So I hopefully I can ask him some questions and stuff for the show. I'm gonna try
That's
to.
awesome. I've heard he's a really nice guy. A friend of mine who, I don't know if you know Matt Hamilton, but
No, I don't know.
he knows Tommy a bit because they used to live in the same area,
Yep.
upstate New York, and seems like a righteous guy.
Yeah, really, it seems like a good guy from what I've seen online. I mean, I don't really know.
When is that show?
It's right after. It's January 3rd, right
Oh,
after the
nice.
holidays. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually going to it by myself because Mrs. Ball is going to be out of town. So that'll be kind of fun, actually. It's like, at a brewery. So I'll go have dinner and I'll bring a pile of records and a Sharpie and I'll be shoved them in front of him. I have no shame.
Be nice and bring one of his records for him to sign along with the Replacements.
Yeah, all the Replacements ones, you mean? I don't have one of his. I'll buy one of his records
That's
there.
what I'm saying.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I'll buy one of his there. Oh wait, hold on. You met him when he played with Soul Asylum. Yeah, his
I didn't know
solo
he played
stuff.
with Soul Asylum. Huh,
Are you
that's
talking about Nito, his Cowboys at the Campfire stuff that's just come out now? I haven't heard the record yet, but I've been, been meaning to.
hmm.
I haven't even heard the new Tim box set, because it hurts me
Hmm.
physically to buy CDs. But
Yeah,
I'm
I was
gonna.
just listening to that the other day on Spotify. The demo and live stuff is absolutely fantastic. The remixed thing is, I don't know. I really have no problem with the original one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might just take a few listens. Some people are raving about the remix that they did.
Uh,
Yeah,
uh,
I'm
all
not
right.
sure.
Yeah. I haven't. Don't have an opinion on it. I'm gonna talk about it later. But Boz Scaggs. All right. I found this record at Wuxtree Records in Atlanta. There's one in Athens, Georgia as well. Wuxtree, and
Hmm.
pretty cool little shop. And this was like $8, I think, used. And
Hmm.
I knew Lowdown, and I was like,
Yeah,
that's a great song. And I was like, okay, I had seen that, this is a classic record. And so I got it.
Lido
And
Shuffle.
yeah, Lido Shuffle is great. It's that song, Lido. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so good. Lido Shuffle by Boz Scaggs. And then Georgia is pretty good too. But I gotta say, there were some parts on the record that are just kind of cheesy,
Hmm.
Jeremy.
I don't
But
know
I
if I
mean,
agree.
I like a lot. I mean, I've listened to it like 4 times, and it's kind of growing on me more each time. So I think I need to.
Well,
But it's very of its time, though.
I think it's a terrific album. And you know when I bought that album, because I grew up in the 70s,
Yeah,
as you did as well. But several of those songs, Lido Shuffle and Lowdown, were both on the radio a lot. I liked them a
yeah,
lot. And when it
yeah,
came time for my wife and I to get married, there were certain songs I felt had to be at the ceremony. And we were using a DJ who did not have his own records, essentially. Just a nice guy, a friend of my brother's, who would play the records that we told him to play in whatever order he decides. He's a musical guy, smart guy. And so I had a few records that I felt I needed to have, and this was one of them. So I bought a discount, cutout version of it for $3.99 or whatever. It's back in 1988 or so. And I actually had never heard the whole album, and I was really impressed, to tell you the truth. I love that song, What Can I Say, that opens the album. I think that's a great song.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
also like, there's a reggae song on there
yep,
that's really, really good. And that reggae song actually inspired one of my mixtapes that later became a Spotify playlist called Honky Reggae, because it's reggae, but it's just the whitest reggae ever. It's
yeah,
so lighter than air and kind of thin. It doesn't have any heavy bass on it. I
yeah,
think it's
yeah,
really, really great. I'm trying to remember what song it is, though. I'm looking it up here. Silk Degrees. It's a huge album. I think it's almost as good as, well, I don't know if you could say it's almost as good as Thriller, but it
yeah,
does have a bit of that same variety that I associate
yeah,
with Nilsson Smilson
yep.
or Thriller. I think it's a great album. Just
It
one.
really is good. It really is good. I mean, there's a little cheesiness to it, ballers. So, but stick with it.
The
There's
other thing I would say is I have a couple of bootlegs from him in 76
yeah,
and I think 1980.
yeah,
He was a great performer back then. Really good. I mean, he could still do the bluesy stuff
yeah,
from the early days, but yeah, oh, the song Georgia, that was also a hit, huge
yep.
hit. What Do
Very
You Want
good.
the Girl to Do is an Alan Toussaint song. Oh, It's Over, I think, is the reggae song. Love Me Tomorrow. These are all classics. And
Yeah, yeah, it's
what's
pretty good.
really interesting about it is
Yeah,
that he wrote or co-wrote every song except for the Toussaint song.
yeah.
That's very impressive.
Yeah, it's
Because
good.
usually if you look at Thriller or a lot of other albums that had that many singles on it. It's dozens of songwriters all over it. Also, in relationship to Thriller, it's got Jeff Porcaro on drums, who played on Thriller.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the
Interesting.
people who David Paich, I believe, also played on some Michael Jackson stuff.
No
He
kidding.
does all the synth stuff on this. And you've got Fred Tackett, who played with Dylan and Little Feat, Les Dudek on slide guitar. I mean, the band is ridiculous. Jim Horn, tenor
Yeah.
sax. Chuck Finley does a flugelhorn thing. You know, these are people who played with Steely Dan, and I think
Yeah.
it's a terrific album.
It is. And I for $8 that was a score.
I think
Nito,
it's terrific.
speaking of getting a good deal, got a used first U.S. press of "Pleased to Meet Me" at the flea market for $10. That is a great deal.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably
Uh,
what it cost me when I bought it new. $9.99.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, but Georgia Constitution Media. Thank you for the super sticker. That was super kind of you. Thank
Oh, I
you.
thought he was saying that's how much his copy of Silk Degrees cost.
Seriously. It's ridiculous how expensive Hawaii Part 2 is, Epsilon. I think it's out of print, and anything Tally Hall related is highly sought after by youth due to their internet popularity.
Well, this is a world totally unknown to me. I don't know who Tally Hall is. I don't know who.
Yeah, I'm not sure. No, me neither. But it's interesting I appreciate you guys telling me about
Yeah,
this.
I need to know more. Obviously.
Tally Hall. Yeah, exactly. All right, hold on a second. Let's go to your next one here.
Yeah.
Speaking of silk, the Silky.
Degrees to the Silky.
And this one's
Silky.
yours. It's like a bunch of covers, huh?
It's an odd name for a band, and that's how I found out about this, because I was shopping at a record store in New Jersey. Maybe this is how nutty I am. Maybe 6-7 years ago, and I was in the CD bins, and I saw a card that said the Silky on it, and I thought, what the heck is the Silky? I never heard of the Silky. So I pull it out, and it says they've got "You've Got to Hide Your Love Away." It's a cover of the Beatles song from 1965. I thought, well, that's interesting that they're covering that song, because that's not one of the big songs that people generally covered. And I think I listened to it on YouTube. I was like, wow, this sounds pretty good. But the CD was like $20 because the
Wow.
CD was out of print. So I left it behind. But it bothered me ever since. You know what I mean? And I kept looking on Spotify, like maybe one day this record will get on Spotify. And so then we were at Academy Records in Brooklyn, same shopping trip as the other one. And I went over to the folk section, and they had this. This was $8. This is a promotional copy, original pressing.
That's a great
from
price.
1965. And for some reason, this band is completely, utterly underrated, underknown. They're basically an early folk rock band. Some people lump them in with Peter, Paul, and Mary, but they are way better than Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Wow.
I would say that they're more like something that presages Fotheringay or Fairport, because it's this kind of British folk approach to things. But here's the really baffling part about the fact that it's so unknown, is John, Paul, and George all play on the cover of "You've Got to Hide Your Love Away."
No kidding. They do?
And John and Paul came up with the
Wow.
arrangement for the song, and the Beatles love these guys. They thought they were great.
Wow. Do you know anything about that story? Like, how did they hear about the Silky?
I think, well, it says here that John Lennon, it began as a routine session. So this is one of the singers, Kev Silky. That's why they're called the Silky. That's his last name, I guess.
Merry Christmas, George.
They had no intention of making a record at the time, but they worked out an arrangement with Paul. We asked John to come and help us prepare the number for recording. He happened to bring George with him. At first, we weren't getting it at all. Too many people making suggestions at once. Then Paul started to play rhythm guitar. It's what you hear at the start of the record. John shouted, "That's good. Let's use that." Then we found one of the recording studios was empty and decided to hear what the whole thing sounded like on tape. When we heard our playback, George decided it needed something extra and added tapping on the back of the guitar for a percussion sound. Finally, we put on the vocal with George playing tambourine. 4 takes, and we finished the record as you hear it. Now, strangely enough, that record was kind of a hit in England, and it even hit the Billboard charts here.
Wow.
And they put together this album. The rest of the album, almost all of it, is Dylan covers, and they do them very well. They have great taste in his songs. They've got Tomorrow's a Long Time on here, Love Minus Zero, No Limit, Blowing in the Wind, Girl of the North Country.
Yeah.
And then they also do some traditional songs, Close the Door
It
Gently,
ain't me,
beautiful
babe.
version of that. City Winds, something called Blood Red River. It's a really, really solid album of early Brit folk. That's the way I would describe it. Folk rock, Brit folk. So the story I found on Wikipedia, if you can trust it, says that they were prepared to tour in America and had even gotten booked on the Ed Sullivan Show. But their request for visas were turned down.
No way.
Yeah, the State Department would not let them in the country to work.
Strange.
So they could not come to America, and essentially they just broke up after that.
Tally Hall is one of my favorite bands and is like one of like weird alt rock. Sound is hard to explain. I think you might need to check them out. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is just a great record. If you see it, I highly recommend it. Now, of course, I'm slightly on the hunt for the mono version because this is electronically reprocessed stereo, which gives it a little bit of distance sonically.
Right.
But the pressing is quite good. It's very quiet. And I put it on the other day. My wife was like, "Oh my God, I'm obsessed."
I need to find the copy
it's
of that.
so good. If you like that sound, I think it's one of Lennon's greatest songs. And the idea
I love it too. And I love the idea that they were on that song is cool.
Yeah.
So Nito says, I also finally found one of Petula Clark's UK Pie label mono records from 67. My audiophile brother tells me I need to get a mono specific cartridge for it to sound really good. Any thoughts? My understanding on that, Nito, is that you can get away with having like a switch. Like you don't necessarily have to have a cartridge, but you just need to have both sides getting the same signal. So you can achieve that easily using a splitter and it like configured correctly. I'm sure you could sort of puzzle it out.
I don't know. I just play mono records like I play every other record. They sound great.
Yeah, I generally haven't had an issue with it. I think that like there's some people who are purists, Jeremy, say that I don't know. It's like a mono needle is delivering the same exact signal to both speakers. A stereo needle is giving you each side of the grooves. So there could be some differences from one side to the other. I don't know that it would kill you. You should listen to it, Nito, and report back to us and tell us if you think it sounds weird.
I don't think it's going to sound. I think it's going to sound just fine.
Also, some receivers will even have a mono button you can hit.
Yeah, some do, especially the older ones.
Yeah, and so you can get that effect.
No, I have a modern amp and Onkyo amp, and all my mono records sound fantastic. I've got some of those Beatles mono masters, and then just some older things. Well, another record I found recently for $5 was a 1962 pressing of the Buddy Holly story, which was a compilation they released shortly after he died, and was still in print 4 years later, and it sounds so good.
And so does your amp have like a mono button on it or anything?
No, I put records on, I play them, that's what I do, and they sound really good.
I haven't sweated it that hard either. I have a couple of mono records and I just play them. I don't usually do anything. But if you look online, you can see people talking about it and obsessing about it.
I certainly can't imagine being in a situation where I want to change the cartridge to listen to a record. That just sounds
sounds annoying.
homeless.
All right, here's my last one
No
because we're getting
obstacles to joy is what I say. Don't put any obstacles.
yes, good call. Good. All right, Joel Patterson, okay? And this
Yeah, now
record
what
I
is
picked up this
this?
year. It's called HiFi Christmas Guitar. It's from 2017. I mean, that's when it came out. And it's like you know how there's some bands now that do retro surf rock and stuff like that?
Sure, I
It's
guess
like
so.
that, but it's like that, but it's like West Coast swing. So
Mhm.
it's actually quite accurate. I mean, I'm sure his guitar that he's holding there is from the time period.
Yeah.
But he's a virtuosic player and
Hmm.
they're really cool and fun takes on Christmas music. I've been really digging this year. He's got a number of Christmas records
Hmm.
actually. Um
How did you
so and
find it? What led you to it?
he's on the streamers and stuff, so,
Okay.
add him to your list. Um, I found him because I started listening to surf rock more heavily during COVID, and
Mhm.
I somehow ended up finding the Suffragettes, which is a Canadian all-woman surf band,
Oh.
and they're really great, and they've done a bunch of covers that are like, they have a cover of "Toxic" by Britney Spears. They have a cover of, "All I Want for Christmas Is You," like, they have a Christmas single from last
Yeah.
year, and the
Well,
B-side
that's
is
like,
"All I
you
Want
know,
for
the surf
You."
bands in the old days used to record covers all the time of
Yep.
contemporary songs. That's clever.
And yeah, they're instrumental songs, and
Mhm.
they're great, and they're on a label called High Tide Records, which is a surf rock record label, so I
Yeah.
started exploring that label's catalog,
Yep.
and then somehow that led to me finding this, I was looking at, in the off season, I was looking at Christmas records, which I tend to do,
Yeah.
like, I'll buy 1 or 2 records each year, and I'm trying to get a good deal on them, so, if I see something in the summertime, I'll buy it, and then I'll be like,
Mhm.
"I hold on to it." And so, um, this is I got it for, 12 or $15 or something, and it
Yeah.
retails for, like, 30, so I got a great deal on it, and
Mhm.
it sounds great, and it's pretty, it's green vinyl, not that that matters so much, but instrumental, it's, very, like, Chet Baker,
Yeah.
kind
I
of,
would definitely check that out.
um, yeah, it's really good, and there are no vocals, but he is extremely good.
I have
Um,
two comments to make about that. One is that the graphic design is absolutely perfect
yes.
to mimic that look from the late 50s, early 60s. The other thing I would say is I believe that is the same guitar, the Gibson ES 250 maybe, that was played by the great Gordy Walker from Killing Joke, who we just lost.
Oh, really?
He was known for using a gold Gibson. That's a Gibson, right? It looks like a Gibson logo on the top.
Yeah,
That looks
yeah,
exactly like the guitar he played. And wow, what a sound you can get out of that thing.
yeah, it looks like it's a what, is it a gold top? Is that what they
Yeah,
call it?
yeah. What
Um,
for Gordy, they called it his golden harp because
yeah,
of the
it's a
sound he made.
classic.
I mean, if you've ever heard 80s, you get an idea of what kind of sound he could coax out of that thing.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
and
other
this
thing I was going to mention, if you want to get into Canadian surf bands, have you ever heard the band Les Jaguars?
I haven't, no.
I highly recommend it. There was a reissue from a couple years ago on a label called Return to Analog. This
Yeah.
reissue label from Canada, their stuff is absolutely ridiculously well done. If you watch my 20 live albums that are fun to have on vinyl, I have a Miles Davis live album they put out on Return to Analog that's absolutely just the most gorgeous pressing mastering combination you can imagine. And so Les Jaguar, I had not heard of them either, but they rip. If you can find it, they only put out 500 copies of this reissue. And according to Discogs, you can get it for about $25.
Okay, Le
I,
Jaguar.
Le Jaguar. I have volume 2. Apparently, there's a volume 1.
Oh, very cool.
But I have volume 2. This was from 1965, originally recorded, and I think they're another female band. So
Yeah, I'll check them out.
yeah, take a look at that because it's so much fun.
Ballers, thank you so much. That was a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah,
I enjoyed
cool
that.
stuff.
And yeah, that's the takeaway. Check out those records and also check out the Surfragettes. They're
Yep.
actually about to go on tour with Reverend Horton Heat. So I'm
Rock on.
thinking about going to that performance in Atlanta. But
Fun.
yeah, man, and everybody have a wonderful Christmas if you celebrate. Happy holidays, happy Hanukkah,
Celebrate, and the new year is coming.
and yeah,
Enjoy.
man, yeah, exactly. And if you just PM me if you want some wish list items from me. All right, have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon. We have some cool videos coming out soon. I appreciate you coming out with us on a Friday night. Peace out.